So I was sitting around thinking today about why I don't use Helix for my development environment anymore. And I do use it for note taking every day. It's where I take all of my notes, and I do use Helix bindings in VS Code. But I don't use Helix itself. And I was thinking about why that is. And, other than just extensions in VS Code, which is just incredible, especially if you're a front-end engineer, there's so many extensions that just make your life so much easier. The core reason is that it doesn't have a file picker. Now, unfortunately, it looks like adding a file tree is definitely on the back burner for now. And there's some question about whether this requires a client-server model or not. The core team seems to be of the opinion that it requires a client-server model. I'm personally familiar with the ability to send commands to running processes with, I'm forgetting what it's called right now, but it's like the kill IDs or like kill sig kills or something like that. I've used it before to trigger like hot reload and flutter and stuff like that. And feel very comfortable using it. Just can't remember what it's called. And so I don't really agree that it needs a client server model, but I definitely need this. And there's some features that I need. So I need mouse control on both. Luckily, the mouse control in Helix seems to be good, but I'm not familiar with the file pickers that are available out there. It needs to be put together in some sort of terminal multiplexer tiling manager, something like Tmux or Xargs is another great example. And there's so many others, but it needs to be put together in something like that. And then at a minimum, I need to be able to click on something here and have it open in there. But then ideally, it should also show, which one's highlighted, and if I close it here, then it should reflect here. Or if I delete it here, then it should close it here is actually probably the more important thing. And then, so there's some question about integration. And then the big one, which is, I think, going to be almost impossible to get, although I'm not really sure, I haven't really looked into it, is the ability to have the language server update the imports in a file when you actually move like that imported file. So that's a language server protocol feature, and I don't know if any file trees support that. Maybe they do, and I'm just like completely ignorant of it. But those are the things that I'm wondering. Now, luckily for us, there is this issue here where people are talking about all the different ways to use Xargs, and Kitty and WesTerm and all these other tools to put together this experience. New Shell as well. And so I think this is something worth trying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste this in the description. I'm going to ask all of you if any of you have spent time setting something like this up and what's like the high level strategy that you used. If you've got like dot files or like a gist that you can share with us, then that would be super helpful. But a high level strategy is the most important thing. And just a vibe check on whether you think it worked well and whether you think it's worth approaching. And if you have any other thoughts on just the future of Helix. Last I checked, they were working on a plugin system. Personally, I think that it would be better to focus on fundamentals. There's this Jeff Bezos quote. He says, work on only the stuff that makes your beer taste better. And so in this case, adding a file picker would make the Helix beer taste much, much better. But we're working on other things right now, apparently. So if you have any thoughts on any of that, please feel free to leave in the comments, and I welcome your messages. Thank you.